I've been making music for more than 10 years and I always struggled to get that tight and punchy low end. And just like every music producer, I would go to YouTube and watch tons of tutorials. And I saw everyone using compression. But here's the problem, even though they explained it, I never understood how to use it the right way. And let me know if that sounds like you. I was trying to copy what other music producers were doing, but my bass still sounded weak and amateur, until recently. So in this video, I'm gonna teach you my pro bass compression formula, so by the end, you'll understand how to use compression to get that tight and punchy low end, like in your favorite pro tracks. Let me show you two examples of two tracks that I prepared for this tutorial so you can really hear and understand what compression can do to your mix and how much you can improve it. And this is the same thing with compression. One more time. So it's a little bit more focused, it's a little bit tighter, and if you look at the waveform here, you can see the transients of the kick and of the bass. If you compare, it's a little bit more punchy on this one. And let's also listen to the second example. It's a good one. Same thing here.
When I gotta come up, I'll be hustling sun down to sun up, standing 10 toes, haters won't be taking me. I'm about my cheese, I'm about my bread, I'm about my bakery. Ain't no hurry in the race, that's a fool's game. Cause it's turning on you all the time that people change. All this bakery, I see these suckers acting strange. She ain't loyal, ain't no marriage, ain't no last name.
And this one. Have a look at the waveform, at the difference. You can see we have a bit more punch on the kick, and check it out here.
When I gotta come up, I'll be hustling sun down to sun up, standing 10 toes, haters won't be taking me. I'm about my cheese, I'm about my bread, I'm about my bakery. Ain't no hurry in the race, that's a fool's game. Cause it's turning on you all the time that people change.
One more time, the old one.
Sun down to sun up, standing 10 toes, haters won't be taking me. I'm about my cheese, I'm about my bread, I'm about my bakery. Ain't no hurry in the race, that's when I gotta come up, I'll be hustling.
So again, a bit more focused, a little bit tighter, more punchy, and so on. Okay, so here's the plan for this video. Number one, you're gonna learn how compressor works. Number two, we're gonna talk about the purpose of compression. Number three, you're gonna learn the pro bass compression formula, the exact steps that you can take to make your low end sound good. Number four is going to be compression cheat sheet with settings that you can use and the sound you're going to get from that. And by the end of the video, you will fully understand how to use compression to get that pro sounding tight and punchy low end. So let's start with basics and talk about how a compressor works. So in any compressor, we usually have four parameters: threshold, ratio, attack, and release. Let's start with the first one, threshold. Think of a speed camera on the highway. The threshold is the speed limit. If you drive below the limit, nothing happens. The moment you go over the limit, the camera activates. The compressor starts reducing volume. In audio, the threshold determines how loud a sound has to be before compression kicks in. So let's jump to Ableton. So let's apply compression to that mix and play with the threshold a little bit. So as you can see, nothing is happening right now.
When I gotta come up,
if I push the threshold a little bit more,
when I gotta come up,
you can see compressor starts to react. And the more I push it, the more gain reduction we have. So you can think of threshold as a ceiling. And this is the easiest parameter in compressor. So it's very simple to understand. The next one is going to be the ratio. So ratio is basically like a multiplier. The higher is the ratio, the more aggressive compression is. There's actually a little bit like more detailed explanation, but honestly, think of it as a multiplier. I think of it this way because it's way simpler than, thinking exactly what this thing does. And once you do it and once you play with it, you're gonna hear what this thing does to the mix. So let's do like, I'm gonna compress a little bit more. So this is 41.
When I gotta come up, I'll be hustling sun down to sun up. When I gotta come.
So you can see the more we push,
when I gotta come up,
the more compression we get. So if I put like 1.8,
when I gotta come up, I'll be hustling sun down to sun up, standing 10 toes, haters won't be taking me.
and it changes the sound quite a lot, right? So this one is also pretty simple. Now let's go and talk about the attack. So this is a little bit corny example, but it's fun. So imagine Neo fighting Agent Smith. So I hope you watched Matrix. A fast attack means Neo blocks the punch instantly, snappy compression. A slow attack means the Neo waits a moment before reacting, letting the punch land a little first. In compression, attack time controls how quickly the volume gets reduced when it crosses the threshold. So once again, let's go back to the mix and play with the attack a little bit. So let's see. I'm gonna do like subtle compression here. Let's do a little bit. So something like that. So with a fast attack, you can see it's pretty aggressive. If I increase the attack, that's pretty much it. So fast attack, compressor reacts instantly. Slow attack, you let the transients come through. Pretty simple. Now, let's talk about the release, and this is going to be the last one. I think this is a great analogy. Imagine squeezing a stress ball. If you hold it tight and release it slowly, the ball takes time to return to normal, slow release. If you let go quickly, the ball bounces back immediately, fast release. In compression, release time controls how long it takes for the volume to return to normal after compression stops. So if we go back to the mix, let's say we do fast attack and we do very long release. Listen and look at the visuals. If we do fast release, so this parameter can really change the character of the signal when used correctly. So these are the basics. Play a little bit with that. Just apply a lot of compression. You can apply to mix, to kick, to bass, to anything. You want to understand what it does, and the best way to understand is just mess with the knobs and see what they do, and compress a lot, and you will understand it. Okay, now before we start compressing your kick and bass, there are three things that we have to get right. Number one, good sound selection for the kick and the bass. Number two, volume balance. And number three, proper length for the kick and the bass. Let's talk a little bit about sound selection. This is not going to be like a full sound selection tutorial, but I'll mention the fundamental principles. I want to take the first mix as an example. So if you look visually at the things that are happening, let me solo the kick and the bass, and you can hear and you can see that the bass is very dominating. It is loud, it is big, and the kick has to be short. So you have to understand what kind of kick you need for the bass, because we could compress a bad kick and it's not going to do any difference. But if you compress the right kick, it's going to improve the mix so much. Right? Check it out. So there's technically not a lot of space for a long kick. So let's listen in real phones. And if we do the second mix, the kick is a little bit different. It's also pretty short and snappy, but a bit different. It's a little bit longer, as you can see. But even without any compression on the first one, on the second one, it still sounds good. And this is the thing that you need to get right. Still good. So this is number one. The second one, volume balance for the kick and the bass. What I've discovered with experience after making music for such a long time, most of the times, not always, because there's no one size fits all and there are no rules in music production. Most of the times, the kick and the bass will be about the same loudness. So if we listen to the first one, so yeah, peaks are technically a little bit louder on the bass line. We can reduce that a little bit. But you can see they are about the same. Because if we make the kick a little bit too loud, now it's destroying the mix. So aim for that. Again, just test it. One good thing is going to be real fine, so you want to reference with this plugin, because by listening on different systems, you can really understand if it sounds good. For example, take this one. Nice. And the second thing is going to be Sub Ninja. You can see everything is pretty balanced, but just to put this visually, now it's not very cool. So just play, but listen to your ears way more than you should rely on any visual plugins and stuff. If it sounds good, it sounds good. So a little bit more. That's about it. Yeah, and the last thing is going to be the length for the kick and the bass. I'm gonna put a video about the kick and bass and length specifically because it is very, very important. But in a nutshell, you do not want your kick and bass to overlap because that's gonna ruin your mix. Next thing, let's talk about a few fundamental compression tips. Number one, do not compress in solo because it's not gonna make any sense. I'll show you why. Because listening in solo is like without any context of the mix. So what's the point of applying anything like processing to the sound if you're not listening in the context of the mix? Most of the times you want to have a goal for your compression. Okay, so what am I trying to achieve with my compression? 30% of time, you can just experiment and see what sounds good. Again, don't put yourself into a box like, oh, I should do this, I should not do that. No, have fun, but the most important thing in music, what I've, again, discovered with experience, is having intention, having goal in mind. And when you know what you're trying to achieve, what you are doing, then all the steps become easy, whether you're mixing, producing, sound designing, whatever. Don't look at numbers when compressing, super important, because your eyes will trick you 100%, and do what sounds good, even if it is 15 dB of compression, because it can sound good with like 1, 2, 3 dB of compression, and it can sound good with 10, 15 dB of compression. If you like my videos and my style of teaching, you are getting value from it, and if you want to work with me, I have one-on-one coaching program. The link is going to be in the comments below. You can check all the information on the website. I'll help you to find your signature sound, produce music faster, and even help you with releasing music on a record label. So here is how the program works. After you watch the video, click the link, book a call with me, let's have a chat and see if I can help you. And I also suggest you check the results from my clients. Some of them are already releasing on record labels, as I said. So if you're interested, all the links are down below, and let's continue with the tutorial. All right, let's talk about the key of compression, and it is to change the dynamics. You can think of dynamics as a shape of the sound, because frequencies are physical, and we are changing that shape with compression. So we are changing the shape to make everything fit and sound musical. But keep in mind, as I said, this is not a magic pill. You need to have good sound selection in the first place. So as for example, if this is the kick and this is the bass, oh shit, but you understand this. We can make it go from this, where it almost fits. You can see it's good sound selection, but something is not like 100% good. Then we can make it like this. It's gonna fit well. So that's the purpose of compression, to fine tune the sounds a little bit. So this is gonna be the first step of the Pro Bass compression formula. We need to get clear on the sound we want for the kick and for the bass. So I'm gonna show you 2 examples. Let's start with the first one. So what I wanted is short, punchy, and pumping kick. I wanted to have big, rounded bass that dominates the whole mix. And for this, if you're not very clear on what you want, just use references. So what inspired me to make this loop was a track. I'm going to show you the track in a second. Let's just listen to mine. I heard this track on YouTube Music. Oh my God, I played it in one of my DJ sets recently. It was so good. I was like, hey, I need to make a track like that because it's so, so good. I loved it. And I made something that's I feel like sounds like me. Again, not like 100% copy, but it gave me a clear vision and direction for my track. Okay, that's the first step, right? I'll show you the kick and the bass before so we can understand how it sounded so that it's a little bit more clear for you. So let's remove everything from my master, and this is the original mix. Not bad, right? It's okay. But it's just not tight enough. Let's start with the kick, and let's talk about the first step. So after we got clear on what we want to analyze. This is exactly what I did. So I was like listening and thinking, okay, what is missing? So to put this visually, the kick is missing a bit of attack to sound more punchy. The bass is all over the place and too much dynamics are not tight enough. So let me show you again, before and after on the kick. Let's just solo the kick. Compression on the kick. This is with compression, and we can also put this visually. Check it out. This is the compressed signal. Not bad, but lacking punch. With compression, nice, tight, more attack, more punchy, right? It's the same thing for the bass. It is all over the place, too much dynamics and not tight enough. So let's go to the bass here and go to the bass. Listen to everything right now with compression. So this is with. This is without. Not like a massive difference, but it's definitely making it. We can compress a little bit more just so I could show you. Let's do like this. Yeah, now it's more audible. Let's do without real phones. And now with compression. A little bit tighter. So that was the sound that I was going for, right? After we get clear, after we analyze, then we want to start applying compression. So now I'm gonna go and show you what exactly I did to get the sound that I want, right? So let's go to the kick and I will explain everything that I did. So the bass is without compression. Okay, so the first compressor on the kick is doing the kick a little bit tighter and more punchy. We have fast attack, fast release. Check out the sound. This is without. You can see a lot of low frequencies in the kick that are not adding any value to the track. Let's go back. And we can also look at everything visually. I really recommend to get some sort of oscilloscope because it's gonna help you to understand compression way, way better. So let's listen here. Without. So it makes it like a little bit flat, a little bit more flat, which is what we need for the track, right? And if we change the attack, this is not quite what I was looking for. Yeah, sure, you can make it like this, but you can see we are losing a little bit of pump and punch on the kick. So like this, it's more like, that's what I wanted. I'm not gonna talk about like the exact values because you have to listen to it. I'll just show you a little bit more examples with my thinking process, right? So for example, if you compress just a little bit, sure, it is giving something, but I want a little bit more control, right? So let's compress a little bit more. So I think this is the sweet spot, anywhere from like -10 for this specific sound, because the numbers are going to be different for your track, 100%. Something like that, right? Pretty cool. And for the release, same thing, right? Yeah. That's it. That's the first compressor. Now, let's go to the bass and play with compression on the bass line. I'm listening on real phones specifically, and I suggest that you listen in headphones because it is easier to understand the dynamics of the low end once you listen on big speakers. Because quite often, if you listen to headphones, you're not really like realizing and understanding how much energy there is in your bass frequencies. So if we go back, now let's do the same thing on the bass line. So with the bass line, we have to find the right amount of threshold as well. How much do we want to compress? You can see the attack is pretty long. I would make it just a little bit shorter, maybe. Something, I don't know, maybe something like this. We can play with that, change that a bit. Let's say something like that. I'm also listening to the kick. How does my compressor settings on my bass affect the kick? I think anywhere from 16 to 32, something like that. Something like that is cool, right? So just changing that a little bit. Ratio, usually for kick and bass, it's going to be a little bit more, but sometimes it could be 4. Sometimes, I think in this case, it sounds good to me when I do 6, right? Okay, so these are the first steps. Let's listen with our real phones. And also let's pay attention to how this stuff sounds with the drums, because it's very important to listen to the context, right? This is without. So first the kick. Pretty good. Right, it's pumping through the mix. And same with the bass line. Let's check the bass line. It's a little bit more controlled. We are putting it back in the mix. So this is the third step. And the final step for the Pro Bass compression formula is to add more compression if needed. I'll show you the example. Sometimes one compressor is not enough. It's a common mixing technique to use multiple compressors in a row with different settings to get sounds to sit perfectly in the mix, right? So I'll show you what it can do to your mix. So we have one compressor on the kick. And I want you to listen. Let's remove the arpeggio. Listen to how this thing sounds, because it's pretty cool. So check out the second compressor and see how much it can change the mix. You can see we can get more pump with the long release, but I kind of want to keep that punchy character for the kick. So this is without. Let's compress a little bit more so you hear the difference. Without. Let's pull Sub Ninja to see everything visually again. This is with compression. Oh, no, wait, should be here, right? On the bass. Not on the kick, excuse me. So you see how much we can change the shape of the kick. And it becomes more consistent, more glued, if you want to say so. So you just You need to find the right amount of compression for this. So with the first compressor, we are making the kick a bit more punchy, and with the second one, we are putting it back in the mix, so shaping the sound a little bit more. So that's the goal. And on the bass line, it is the same logic, but it is a little bit different, right? So first, I used a compressor with a longer attack and release, and the second compressor has a short, like fast attack and release, like we did on the kick, to make the bass a bit more pumping. So check it out. Like this. This is without. Makes it a bit more pumping. So that's pretty much it. You have to practice with it, but that's the thinking process. So if you reference with good tracks that you like, if you look at everything visually, you're gonna get a really, really nice and tight and punchy low end. So the last step, which I want to talk about, is playing with compression on the master channel. But you want to be very careful, because if you do it wrong, you can kill the whole mix, and it is not good. It is not good, but it can make a big difference on the mix. I'm gonna use a little bit of saturation because it gives you a nice low end. And have a look at compressor on the master. So I would say like, something like this is cool, right? And you can see, let's compress a little bit more, like 61. Without. Something like that is cool, because I don't want to kill the transients. Okay. So that's pretty much it. Okay. I want to show you one more example. We'll go everything really, really quickly so that the video is not too long. We'll do the same thing, the same logic, and I'll explain what I'm doing. So we have this track, which is really cool. I really like it. Let's go here and listen to everything without compression, as we did. So Sub Ninja, pull it here. It's already sounding pretty nice. Let's adjust the sidechain a little bit. And we can do with the vocal. So you can hear that the kick and the bass are taking a little bit too much space in the mix, which is fine, but we want to do it a little bit better. Yeah, it's very audible on real phones on this system. I really like testing for the low end on this one specifically. So let's go start compressing. We want to first do the kick, or like at least I do the kick first. If you want to do the bass, that's fine. And I want you to listen how compression affects the whole mix, affects the vocal and affects the drums. So I think I want to do around like something like that. Let's play with attack and release. Okay, faster attack, I think for this one is better. Yeah, because we wanted to punch through like check it out. This is a little bit too much. So something like that.
hustling, sun down to sun up. Standing 10 toes, haters won't be taking me. I'm about my cheese, I'm about my bread, about my bacon. Wanna know my change.
So with this release, if you listen to the vocal closely, you can hear that it is making it more clean, like more pronounced in the mix.
Wanna know my change, but I gotta come up. I be hustling, sun down to sun up. Standing 10 toes, haters won't be taking me. I'm about my cheese, I'm about my bread.
You can see that the vocal starts to breathe. It has a little bit more space in it, which is cool.
Wanna know my change, but I gotta come up. I be hustling, sun down to sun up. Standing 10 toes, haters won't be taking me. I'm about my cheese, I'm about my bread, about my bacon.
So I think the attack could be like,
Wanna know my change, but I gotta come up. I be hustling, sun down to sun up. Standing 10 toes, haters won't be taking me. I'm about my cheese, I'm about my bread, about.
so it's a bit more pop. All right, that's cool. And ratio 4:1 is cool. Pretty subtle compression.
Wanna know my change, but I gotta come up. I be hustling, sun down to sun up. Standing 10 toes.
So we can do like, yeah, something like that. I'm leaving a bit of headroom for compression.
Wanna know my change, but I gotta come up. I be hustling.
All right, let's do before and after.
Wanna know my change, but I gotta come up. I be hustling, sun down to sun up. Standing 10 toes, haters won't be taking me. I'm about my cheese, I'm about my bread, I'm about my bakery. Ain't no hurry in the race, that's a fool's game.
A little bit better. Now, the same thing on the bass line. So first, what we want to do is use the first compressor. So let's check it out. First, without compression.
Wanna know my change, but I gotta come up. I be hustling, sun down to sun up. Standing 10 toes, haters won't.
So here I was trying to find the values that would allow the track to breathe. So let's play a little bit more with attack and release.
Wanna know my change, but I gotta come up. I be hustling, sun down to sun up. Standing 10 toes, haters won't be taking me. I'm about my cheese, I'm about my bread, about my bakery. Ain't no hurry in the race, that's a fool's game. Cause it's turning on you all the time that people change. All this bakery, I see these suckers act. Wanna know my change, wanna know my change, but I.
Yeah, so attack, I think 15.
Wanna know my change, but I gotta come up. I be hustling, sun down to sun up. Standing 10 toes, haters won't be taking me. I'm about my cheese, I'm about my bread, about my bakery.
So anywhere from like,
Wanna know my change, but I gotta come up. I be hustling, sun down to sun up. Standing 10 toes, haters won't be taking me. I'm about my cheese, I'm about my bread, about my bakery. Ain't no hurry in the.
I think 150.
Wanna know my change, but I gotta come up. I be hustling, sun down to sun up. Standing 10 toes, haters won't be taking me.
I want to have a little bit of the attack of the bass
Wanna know
line.
my change, but I gotta come up. I be hustling, sun down to sun up. Standing 10 toes, haters won't be taking me. I'm about my cheese, I'm about my bread, about my bakery. Ain't no hurry in the race, that's a fool's game. Cause it's turning on you all the time that people change. All this bakery, I see these suckers act strange. She ain't loyal, ain't no marriage, ain't no last name. Wanna know.
Yeah, we can make it a little bit tighter. This is also pretty good.
Come up. I be hustling, sun down to sun up. Standing 10 toes.
Pretty good, right? And then if we need, we can use the second compressor, but I would have to change the settings a little bit. So I think for the second one, I'm going to change it to something like this. A bit more attack. And
Wanna know my change, but I gotta come up. I be hustling, sun down to sun up. Standing 10 toes, haters won't be taking me. I'm about my cheese, I'm about my bread, about my bakery. Ain't no hurry in the race, that's a fool's game. Cause it's turning on you all the time that people change. All this bakery,
something like that.
But I gotta come up. I be hustling, sun down to.
So check it out before and after. And we're going to see how that affects the whole mix.
Wanna know my change, but I gotta come up. I be hustling.
It's a little bit too boomy, right?
Wanna know my change, but I gotta come up. I be hustling, sun down to sun up. Standing 10 toes, haters won't be taking me. I'm about my cheese, I'm about my bread, about my bakery.
And now with compression, you're going to hear it sounds pretty good.
Wanna know my change, but I got.
Yeah, you see?
Wanna know my change, but I gotta come up. I be hustling, sun down to sun up.
The vocal has a bit more space. The drums, they have a bit more space. And you can see how simple this stuff is. Of course, it's probably not going to be easy for you to like grasp all the concepts, but I'm just showing you my thinking process, my workflow, so that you can copy me, learn it, and then that's pretty much everything that you need for making your kick and bass sound as good as in your favorite reference tracks. And the last thing I want to talk about in this video is compression settings cheat sheet. Don't use it as one size fits all. This is more like a guideline, so you have something to compare to. So if you paid attention to how I was working with compression, you can now understand that fast attack plus fast release is going to equal to aggressive pumping sound. Fast attack plus long release can be pumping sound, and it can also put the sound in the back of the mix because the compressor, like the release, will make it sit a little bit more in the mix. You want to be careful with that. The third one is slow attack plus fast release. It can accentuate the transient of the sound, and slow attack and slow release can add sustain and stability to the sound. So just see an experiment with compression settings. I would first suggest just to open a project, maybe take a full mix because it's going to be way more audible and noticeable, and see how these values affect the sound. And then after you understand this a little bit more, feel free to start playing with compression on kick, bass, drums, because everything that you learned today, you can apply it to not just the kick and the bass, but pretty much to everything. If you need more help with your music, check the links down below. Let's have a chat, book a call on my website, and I would love to help you with your music. And I'll see you in the next one, my friend. Ciao.